Well, hi everybody, and welcome back to the Krumet Valley Railroads Online. However, I have a new save, and this one is the Tofte and Lake Superior. Today, I thought I'd take us on a quick trip with some raw iron over to the ironworks. We're starting over here at the smelter. Let me just refresh you as to where things are. Here's a map, and we have a new thing, and a lot of people have already talked about some of these features, but they're called telegraph offices, which is the T symbols that you see all over the place. And what they're good for is if you're in one place but you need to be on the other side of the map, you can click the T and then you'll teleport to that point. So today we're going to go from the smelter to the ironworks, and we're going to go through the big central yard, but our route will take us from the smelter up through the smelter's little yard and around the curvy track up to the cut. We come out by the sawmill and go through the Y, and then on past the engine service area, across the large yard out the other side, and directly to the ironworks. This particular save has a lot of dead-end industries. So, for instance, if you go to the refinery, there's no place to just turn around. You have to back out and go backwards. So, without any further ado, let's get the rest of this train loaded, and we'll get on with our trip across the map. Today, we will be using Lake Superior, or the Tofte and Lake Superior's locomotive, the Minnehaha, which is a quick consolidation of the 280 wheel variety. So we'll get her loaded up. Loading is not as arduous as it once was, as I'm sure other YouTubers have covered. You can now walk up to a crane, click it, it will begin loading, and it will continue loading until the car is loaded, which on small things like that you pick up and have 3 on a car, it wasn't as bad as when you were putting tools in the box car and there were 32 of them. So it's kind of nice to be able to click it and walk away. Well, we're just about done loading. We'll be ready to start out on our trip. As we leave the smelter, we turn onto the track which heads to virtually the entire rest of the line. As I described earlier today, our journey will take us up the curvy route to the top of the valley so that we can exit to the saddle, and we will go by the lumber mill, the sawmill, and the main engine service facility, and through the main yard and out the other side to the ironworks. On this particular save, I don't bother having my tracks run through the freight depot, because really the only thing you really need to take to the freight depot once you get everything working is the refined oil barrels. So instead, I just have a throughway from one side of the map to get from the middle, basically the north middle of the map, to the southwest of the map. Because that's what you need to do anyway. Pick up a little more speed here to get up this hill. The Cook Consolidation is an interesting locomotive, because when they added it to the game, they gave it a speed limit of 25 miles an hour, which is a handy thing. I've been able to do about 22 miles an hour, but the cars are all set up with a speed limit of 22 miles an hour. So you really have to be careful when you're trying to reach those ultimate top speeds. It can be done, but everything has to be perfect, and you kind of need a low latency world to do it in. The Tofte and Lake Superior is running at about 120k as a save file these days. It's a very simple little railroad. It also doesn't have a lot of trains on it yet. Let's give it just a bit more throttle. In a moment, we'll get a nice view of the smelter as we go by on this track. And you can see it there. And give you an idea where we are. You can see that we're just on this hill by the smelter. Currently doing 18 miles an hour to go up on the back of the train. You can see the exhaust they've added in to make it a bit more realistic, although a lot of people are arguing that it shouldn't be black smoke, but of course they went with black because you can easily see it against the sky. On this particular railroad, I opted not to make that right turn that so many people make and go up that side of the valley. You have to go to the smelter and go up the intended side. I'm not saying that any of these routes are wrong. This is a puzzle. You come up with your own solution. We're just arriving at the big cut that virtually everybody has to go through, unless they're super creative and decide to go over a mountain someplace. That puts us here. Our cruising speed is supposed to be 20. We're going a bit fast now. Set the throttle for 25%. Let's see where that gets us. We continue our journey to the back end of the train. We don't usually run cabooses because they just get in the way. And most of the time I'm playing single player anyway. So climbing up, here's part of the Y that goes to the lumber mill, sawmill. In a second we'll pass the other side of it. And then we'll go past our main service facility, where there's a sanding tower, a water tower, and a firewood station. They're talking about the next update will have coal-burning locomotives, so that'll add a new dynamic that we have to add to these. You get mixed answers about whether sanding actually matters or not, whether it's actually implemented in the game or not. But I put sanding towers because that way the slot's there for when they do work. We'll pick up our speed just a hair as we enter the main yard. Let's pick it up just a little more, 35%, see what happens. We're aiming for, aha, there it is. Go back down to 40. Going 22.579, 23 miles an hour. You take it back down another notch. Because we're in the danger zone. I said you can run really fast trains if you have a small railroad with low latency and fairly straight track that isn't too abrupt in its turns. These are about 400 or 500 meter turns that we're going through. As we smooth out to 20 miles an hour, we round the last major curve. We'll be having the steel mill, the ironworks, come into view just ahead of us. Across the Spaghetti Junction that connects the oil refinery with the oil wells. And also the ironworks. Let's go back up to the front of the train and get ready for our eventual arrival. And we'll coast now. And a little break. Off the brakes a bit. A little more brake. I was suggesting to a friend last night that we needed to have competitions. Everybody's about speed. So maybe we should have competitions to see who can get their locomotive to go as slowest without stopping. And of course, not everybody has railroads online extended. So what we'll do is make a gaming type railroad and set up some straight track with markers. So in a given space, we'll just use a stopwatch to keep track of people. Okay, and here comes our train. Pop up our money so we can see how much we're making. And we're unloading on the fly. We need a touch more regulator. And let's stop the train before it runs off the end of the track. Prime it for going back the other direction. But in the meantime, let's have a look around. So I've already delivered 50 lumber. I made one other delivery over here, so now we have 48 raw iron. But we don't have any coal yet, and that's coming soon. So I built this all connecting everything up right at the beginning. So I'm working through getting all the industries fed. I started by going around with all the lumber and beams and depositing them where you need to. So we're just kind of filling in as stuff comes online. And then they'll start to output. For instance, at the ironworks, we get tools which come in crates and boxcars to move them, and steel pipes which move on the same cars as logs do. But as soon as we get some coal over here, then those will start filling up too. So there you go, the Tofte and Lake Superior, from the smelter to the ironworks. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Oh, Mr. Porter, what shall I do? I want to go to Birmingham and take me on to Crewe. Send me back to London as quickly as you can. Oh, Mr. Porter, what a silly